I'm gonna be joining it in just a second.
Yeah, I'll probably transfer those to you.
No, I don't mind.
All right, well, welcome to the 4/5/23 Charter Review Committee. Might as well go through a roll
You
call.
want to throw rather than.
April 5th, 2023 Charter Review Committee. And our roll call. There we go. Richard Angotti.
Yep.
Matt Brogdon,
Present.
Bob Higgins,
Present.
Gage Monterey.
Present.
Wally Paul is excused. And Steve Gottlieb has resigned. Sandy Sullivan.
Yeah.
And that's it for members. A couple of cleanup items before we get into the minutes, which I've distributed to you, so you can look them over.
Recording in progress.
Wally is excused because of his mother's
Matt will be.
illness. And with Steve Gottlieb resigning, we will have to assign a vice chair. We should do that before we continue. And
Is that not a designation by the chairman? 'Cause
I
he's
don't-
done,
I
he's
think-
done everybody for every committee. So I don't know if that's something that,
to me, I'm not sure, but it would seem like it should be a committee that points that, books it in. But
I agree, it hasn't been that way thus far, that's why I'm asking.
yeah, it's I kind of thought was a little bit of an overstep, because usually you assign a chair and then they organize and do their. Sorry.
Do that due process of within the committee, they assign
They sign their own minute taker or whatever.
they nominate.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think we will go that way, and if the chair has an issue with it, we can have him show us in Robert's rules where we're wrong. How's that?
Sounds good.
First, before we do that, the vice chair position, Bob Higgins, our counselor, will be moved up to a regular membership, so there's no alternate now. That's what you were there for.
Yeah.
So you fill that seat as a permanent member, voting member and all that. So the vice chair position. Any volunteers or nominations?
Do you want to explain the duties first, just for the people that are new to
Yeah,
committees?
sure. Basically, you have to just take over what I'm doing. And that would be making sure the agenda goes out on time. Create, depending on how the absence occurs, whether or not you have to create the agenda, which is making sure the minutes are available so that we can go through that and then just continue on with what we're doing. You're experiencing what it's like. We're just going to go through the text, and the person taking the minutes is going to report them out for the next meeting. All our actions.
Right.
I would offer, but
You
I
get your-
feel like me handling everything, yeah,
you get-
that's
you
what I was gonna say. I
you
feel
get
like
your-
with me and
Can I interject something here? For public perception, by having a council member, the chair, having a non-council member being the vice chair, that gives you a better public presentation.
I completely agree.
Some transparency.
Yeah, I concur.
That's fine with me.
So
We're still at the point
we
of,
have 3 members here that are.
I nominate Dickie and Dottie then.
I second.
who are we nominating?
Rick and Gotti.
Oh, okay. Any other nominations? It's fine. So we've got a nomination cease, I guess. All those in favor? It's unanimous. So Richard Angotti will be the vice chair.
And again, I just think it gives that public perception that isn't just all the council.
No, I completely agree.
More
Yeah.
transparency, that's fine. Yeah, You don't have to justify anything to us.
No, no, you're right.
We'll take anybody who wants to step
I'm
up.
so used to justifying that it isn't funny.
Alrighty then, so if you all had a chance to read the minutes,
Yes, sir. I apologize, I didn't send it out. This was the first, for the first time. Me and Louis went back to back on font sizes, styles. We've set, a precedent on what we want it to look like. Watermarks were involved. So now that we have a basis going forward, it's gonna be a lot easier for me to edit and send it out. So that's why you guys didn't get it via email. So the minutes will look a lot cleaner moving forward.
and we'll try to include them with the agenda next meeting.
Yep.
So there'll be an attachment under that. So any motion on the minutes?
And, motion we accept the minutes as read.
Second.
All, any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Yeah, again, apologies for the Zoom link from the last meeting not being available to everybody. And I don't see anybody from the public on it, so that makes me worried.
Nope, the link is working. I joined, I confirmed that, so. And I'll check one more time before we get going, just to make sure no one's waiting. Nope. No one's waiting.
Okay. So. I'm down to digital charter, the copy here, set up the way we're doing it.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of confusion with Wally's notes. So on the right is the charter that I rewrote into word processing and PDF using Adobe. And on the left is my email and the
Okay.
changes that Wally had recommended. So I'm assuming his edits are the highlighted pieces, but when I went and looked in the charter, the highlighted piece is exactly the same, so I don't know if there was confusions on what was his specific edit. There's also some errors in his suggestions, so like at the bottom, it says voters and number 39, semicolon signature S. So I didn't know exactly if there were errors with his email chain, which he sent to me, where he made it in a different formatting unit, or if that's a typo. So I wanted to compare them side by side with you guys before we actually put them into a working document.
Yeah, I didn't keep my copy of his. I found it a little bit confusing too, but I think what he was doing was putting the original and then below it, what it was going to or something.
So this is his change and
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
highlighted piece in this.
Yeah, well, that's, if you go down to the next one,
Right, see, but
see what
Yeah,
it says,
okay.
any what?
Any 10, okay.
Yeah, see, there's the
Yeah, okay,
change.
so that's the change.
So that's how he was approaching it.
So
My-
this is the original error.
so the one in yellow was the original.
Yeah.
Then the one that's below there says
Is-
10.
So he's changing just the 10.
Right, that's the recommendation for the
It's in
change.
bold.
So,
I know it's the highlighted piece in the beginning that was confused because he didn't highlight both of them, so I didn't know if there was more edits in it or if it was just that.
So he's highlighted what he was going to change and then changed it in bold in the next section.
my suggestion would be to do it right on that document.
That is the plan. I'm moving all his edits to one
So
document instead of.
things that we recommend to be deleted would be just lined out. Things that we recommended additions would be highlighted.
Yep, or a different color. Yep. So that's basically what I thought we were gonna talk about today is,
And we'll work on
How are we
that
gonna
one
do it?
doc.
yep, all on one document instead of 100 different ones.
Yeah, the same one we're looking at here.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay, so what we're looking at up here on my copy says 5, so
Yeah, he's saying change it to
before-
10.
you changed it to 10.
Is what he's
That's
recommending.
That's his recommendation. Sandy.
It's
Sandy-
whose recommendation?
Sandy, everything that we're doing, everything that we're changing ends up being a recommendation. So, we're
Okay.
not- so to say that we're changing it is not correct.
Okay,
language.
so, but you have to vote to recommend that
A rec-
change. So
recommend.
the committee has already voted to recommend that change?
Yes, that's the status of where we're, as far as we've gone.
Okay,
These are recommended changes that are there, but we're starting over. From page 1 for about 15 minutes of the meeting, reviewing these changes. And anything else that you may want to change in those texts. We'll be discussing and taking along. And then I foresee us 15 minutes of that. After that, go on to try to finish the document from where we left off. So
we're
it's the
gonna
same
start right on page
process.
one.
It's the same process. We're gonna be jumping back and forth. We don't have that much further to go to finish the document because we're at a point where it's getting to a reference for how to change the charter, which we won't be going through because it's a lot of reference to state law, and that's nothing we all want to go through. That's why we have legal review of our recommendations. So I see us going, let's see, probably to page C33, and we're on C29 now. Yes.
Can I, I just, a clarification. You went from 5 to 10, but our the town has shrunk in population.
You're starting right into the reviewer now, right? Because I was just finishing up with the
Okay.
digital copy. We did that. Now we're talking about reviewing previous recommendations, beginning with a title page.
Right.
So we're gonna go right back and then work up to that point that,
Yeah, we're gonna
Okay.
go, gonna start a page, right, the title page, boom,
Okay.
beginning of the document.
And Louis, so we make the recommendations. Legal checks it next before it goes to the council,
And
correct?
the reason it's being checked by legal is because you'll find out when we get to the end of this, there's two ways to change the charter. One is called by revision. What are the two terms? I forget what they are now, but
I'm actually looking for it.
yeah, it's
It's at the very end of the.
Just
chapter,
so we
What-
can clarify it, that's all. That's
one
all.
is called amending and one is revision.
Mhm.
Right.
And depending on the amount and possibly the intent, how it changes the intent of the charter, it'll be one or the other.
Mhm.
Legal will review everything that we're recommending and say by what we see, this has to be a revision. That's a revision, then I believe it goes through the process of having to establish a commission, members being elected to the commission. They're doing what we're doing, exactly what we're doing, with it, taking into consideration the recommendations we made and soliciting what we're doing from the public, more recommendations.
So you're referring to 30 AM or SI subsection 212 or 2011. That's the very end of the charter and talking about how we amend it.
Yeah, I'm probably talking more about, charter amendments. Yeah, that's when it gets into all the review, yeah.
That's when you get into the state statutes.
Yeah. Yeah, general provisions repeal or said the existing rights of contracts effective, let's hold on. Oath of office. That's what it would be, yeah, starting with the charter amendments. Charter may be amended in accordance with 30A. That's, so anyway, that's when we turn it over to legal to decide which direction. I was explaining what the revision would be because it's a wholesale change of the charter, basically, and at the point where this commission goes through its thing, they hold public hearings, having input as well. Then it ends up going to a referendum, vote, the whole town votes on it.
Right. So we want it to be an amendment, not a provision.
And we'd like that, but depending on how big a
Budget
change we're
changes.
making, how much effect it has on the current charter, it may be not considered an amendment, it may be considered a revision.
It's fine. An amendment would be something like changing,
Well,
5 to 4
Pronouns.
counselors or
Yeah.
whatever.
And-
you know,
and we've
5 to
got-
7.
we've made amendments to this, and this is one of the things we have to be cognizant of. We passed orders that changed the charter. But yet they're not printed in the charter yet.
Right.
So
Really?
we have to try and say, well, this is not how it's working because we passed this particular order a while back. Or
So
we
I need
changed,
some serious edits.
or we changed the policy doing something. And we want to reflect, we want the charter to reflect these changes that we've made that are working. You know, we can always have ordinances cancel other ordinances. And then that's why the charter should be reviewed routinely, try to keep up with all the changes. It's never been done as far as I know.
But the charter
Well,
and
83.
ordinances are two separate things. The charter is a portion of the code charter is how you manage, how you operate government. And then ordinances are portions of that. So the ordinances aren't a charter, they are ordinances. Charter is this piece right here that we have with us.
Correct. Which is
Right.
about 70.
Which
some
could-
pages.
which could conceivably make our ordinances illegal. If somebody knows the charter well enough
Right.
and says, we pass an order to do this, according to charter, we can't do that.
And I'm assuming that's where legal will step in and tell us if it violates some kind of ordinance or.
That again,
Legal has supposed to been doing that all along anyways, so.
yeah, you know, so
Right.
anyway. And then we have policies on how we do business that we may want to have it reflected in the charter so that it becomes a permanent thing versus something that can be overturned.
So
Resolves, same idea.
these items that I have up on the screen right now on the left are the only revisions that Wally has sent me. So I received
Yeah.
2 emails from him. None of them include the title page. So I'm just gonna automatically assume you guys didn't offer any changes. to the template.
Exactly, but I want this new body to go through them anyway. because-
Right, I'm just making sure there wasn't anything missing that he had sent me.
One of the comments we made was the very first page. We have to update all the information. The town council is not the town council that's in there now.
Right.
The clerk's not the same.
See, that would
The
be,
year is not the same for
right,
the version.
that would be the portion of the amendment of charter. Is those things, like every year, your council changes or could change. And therefore, those things are part of an amendment to the charter.
And that's why the title page has the year, so that's who was accountable at that time.
So the consulting editors would be us.
But no, they may have had a subcontract with an outfit to do that.
But I'm saying if we're doing it now, we would be the consulting editors for the new serial number or portion of this. Because it's, if it's gonna
It
say,
could be a committee
okay,
that recommended these changes.
okay,
Basically what we're doing. So we'll start right off. I'm gonna keep track of the time here.
Yeah.
Cause we will quit about 5:20, I think, give 10 minutes. for us to all
Upstairs.
hustle upstairs.
I'll say to you, council meeting,
And then, yeah, you have special election for a resigning councilor.
Right.
and I just lost internet.
Okay, so page,
Fantastic.
well, on the preface page, I of the. And I can tell you what I've got on my scribbles here that have been. And you apparently don't have it on your features changes.
I would love to, but the internet just put out.
Can you mark up your manual copy and then put it in later?
I can still edit it. You guys won't be able to
Oh,
see it.
that's okay. The first thing I see on mine is they cross out Mount instead of Mount Katad. Being that the original name means Mount, you know. What's
so you just took Mount off and then, so,
MT, yeah, the MT in that first line,
right, so it's just said the land of Katahdin.
and then, yeah,
Okay, I got it back up.
that was the recommended. Second paragraph. And then as we're going through this,
The preface, Matt.
if you have a suggestion for something else to be changed,
Yeah.
raise your hand, we'll recognize you and we'll listen. We'll do it.
So everybody now you can see Matt's up there, it's got the roll back down a little bit.
So, yeah,
Other way,
if you go to your preface, just,
there you go. A little bit more. Okay,
there, yeah, see, it says Mount, it's highlighted, it's off.
what's highlighted has been.
So you just would,
Do you know how to strike in a word? Do you know what function it's under?
it's a line through it.
It's the line through,
Is it under insert or?
yeah. No, it would be under, go to review.
Crap.
I know. that's why-
What version?
This is the newest. Yeah.
Yeah, there's my problem. So it's, now it's on, so on the drop down, under
Check
review,
draw,
Oh, there we go, strike.
strike through. There you go.
And you want me to highlight it in red as well, or?
Yeah, red would be good for deletion,
for proper, to the purpose, yes. That way there's,
shows up real good.
yes.
I don't see the line through, it's one or the other.
Yeah, just line through it.
Oh, there is.
It's, yeah, it's red and it has a line through it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so the next item, you see right there. Has. Yeah, that has over the years is struck out. And just. Over time has. Is the word that suggested.
So the town of Millinocket over time has,
Has. He said, has over the years.
Okay.
So the town of Millinocket. Over
time has,
time has, so you don't have the word time in there. Word after the word over, put times.
Right there,
Over
Over.
time, oh, in front of has.
over time has.
right, that's an insert.
Okay.
So you probably need to highlight that in like blue, Matt.
You wanna do blue?
Well, blue or yellow, either way.
I don't do yellow.
You know,
You can't make yellow, and
the word over was there before, yeah, okay.
so that way there.
Yeah, how about baby blue? Good
There you go.
compromise.
It stands out that this is an addition.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times.
And you might want to make a little legend, red deletions,
Right.
blue additions.
I can do that after, yeah. I'll
Yeah.
put it in the minutes for a legend and then I'll take it and I'll transfer it over.
The other thing you could do, you underline, which also means that you're adding it. But that's color fine with me.
It's up to you guys. I mean, I really can do whatever. It only takes me a second to.
Okay,
to
down,
add.
next item is, while only a few simple laws were necessary at the time of the establishment of the town.
And he's got
See how
a
he's got it.
space right there.
You see how he's got it up there is,
So is that an insertion at that point of something?
yeah, it's an
What-
insertion.
what-
of-
what does he want there?
section. Establishment of 1901.
Okay, so in 1901.
Yeah. That's really for you. And then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
The next part would be proper functions and government of the town.
Yeah, right, so that's changed to function and governance, I guess is the word.
So the government is governance.
Yeah.
Excuse my grammar. Now, do we want a different color for grammar changes or do you want to just leave it in baby blue?
Just leave it blue because it's a change.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
if you look at the old one against the new one, they're gonna see that it was government and then changed to governance. So,
Grammar, yeah.
right,
Then we're down to trends,
you
which
go.
would be times. There you go, that's how you should do it, that way.
that way it's all on one document
Right,
and you see the changes.
Just get the original document.
Yes,
And down to where it says, light of current time, trends should be times.
The rectal laws in the aspect must look at community development changes, review and revisions of the old laws consideration. New laws in light of current trends, and you said you want it to be.
Times, the word times instead of trends. Ooh, trends. So,
Trends is a strikeout. And you want it red. All right,
and then the next Two lines down, legislation must be more than is struck out all the way, that whole sentence, legislation must be more than mere chronological, that's struck out as being.
The
Yeah.
entire sentence is struck.
Where's
All the way to old records.
the legislation, but before that, is there?
No, there's no change. Just striking out that sentence, yeah.
Okay.
And then it must be available logically arranged for convenience use and must be kept up to date. And then the insertion. is
So
an
it
insert.
must be available as being replaced with. Cause he has it highlighted as well. Was that a mistake or is something changing with the word it?
No, that's not, that's a mistake.
Okay, so it is staying.
Yeah,
Okay,
that sentence is staying to the end of it where there's an insertion.
Yeah, so he's striking.
In accordance with state statutes and United States Constitution. At the word up to date.
so up to date is changing to,
No, after up to date.
it was with the thoughts and such
In
as these
accordance,
in
it says
mind.
like kept up to date in accordance to state statutes and United States Constitution. You see that in this changes?
Yeah, but it was supposed to be changed to these records.
Yeah,
Right.
So it is changing to,
It was changed, these records.
Oh, yeah, I
must-
see it.
okay, all right, so that's getting struck.
And then. Yeah, see, everybody's catching on now. We're getting.
And
gas
then
in it,
it's
getting gas in it.
these
Records.
records.
And with. Thoughts such as these in mind, that the town council order. Oh,
Okay,
no, these records, after the word up to date, doesn't have a change. In that,
and no, the last recording for the preface is these records were added and that's all he has.
These records must be available and logically arranged for convenient use and must be kept up to date.
Yep, that, nothing else
Right.
changes in it.
no, I'm talking about the sentence before, at the end of the sentence.
Well,
before.
you did away with that sentence, then it had the word it in it
Yeah,
originally.
legislation is getting omitted, so that whole sentence is gone.
Right.
And
Right.
then it is also getting omitted and these records is replacing the word it.
Right.
Okay, I'm talking about the sentence that starts, it must be available and logically arranged for convenience use and must be kept up to date.
Correct. So it would then read, these records must be available and logically arranged.
That's the next sentence.
That's
No,
the
that's
same
the
sentence
same
we're talking
sentence.
about. That's one we're on.
That's the one we're on.
Let me look at it.
Yeah, it just strikes
See,
out
look
that
here.
it just,
Yeah, this was a period up to date. This was another sentence. This insertion was this.
Okay, but I think we're,
These records with
When
thoughts
you-
such
when you-
as these in
right,
mind.
so when you took this line here out, and then it was highlighted. So the it was replaced with these records must be available and logically arranged for convenient use and must be kept up to date.
Which I think reads fine. I think that's.
Mhm.
Like,
Okay, well then after the
then-
word up to date is.
Right, and then there's a period.
and then it was thoughts such as these in mind that the town council ordered the following codifications of the town legislation.
Okay, see what I've got here that's not up there.
Okay, so
Yes.
Yeah, so in
Inserted right
accordance to state statute,
after the up to date.
right,
so
Up to date,
you want
not
an
quoted.
additional change that Wally has not given.
Yeah,
right, so
Okay.
up to date,
Hold on. So
In-
after up to date, we are doing a new
I'm
sentence.
gonna
right,
add,
you're
gonna
gonna
add,
add
after the word
in
date.
accordance to state statutes and the United States Constitution.
Yeah, I think you might have missed it.
Yeah.
Oop.
Is that better?
Well, that's just what I
In
had.
accordance to state statutes and the United States Constitution.
Here,
Yes.
yeah. That's
Is it two or two?
Keo.
Oh,
It wants with.
it wants with, okay, it's just a grammatically
So
thing.
do we want to do with or two?
Sure, with sounds
With,
better.
yeah.
Any other thoughts? He didn't have any adjustments for contents of code. Um,
Hold on, I think,
The last sentence in that, before you go, don't go any further, go back up. Do it, please.
Yep.
So it was the thoughts such as, okay, so those, nothing was changed in that last sentence.
he did not put any recommendation.
Well, we did not have anything in the last. Okay, so we're good.
Well, what about contents of code, divisions of code and contents of code are also on the same page.
You have an arrow on the various chapters of the code, Louis. I don't
does
know.
say anything?
It
And
doesn't say anything, you just
Check
had,
the next page.
you just had an arrow. Nothing there, nothing under the preface.
it is recommending a grammatical change to the end of contents of code. It's recommended instead of in the course of, it's just during. Just a grammatical piece.
Say,
So instead of reading by the town council in the course of the codification, it would read by the town council during the codification. So for example, I'll strike it, I'll show you what I mean.
oh,
This is what what it's recommending.
town council, including revisions or amendments to existing legislation deemed necessary by the town council in the course of the codification. Contents of the code, the various chapters of code contain all current, the effective legislation, ordinances of the general and permanent nature enacted by the town council, the town of Millinocket, including revisions or amendments to existing legislation deemed necessary by the town council in the course of the codification. I don't see any reason to change
Yeah, I
that
wouldn't
sentence.
change it.
It's recommending a grammatical change is
Yeah.
what I was saying.
I-
Do you want to leave it?
I don't recommend Jay making.
Yeah, let's stay with bad grammar.
Okay.
Well, you say that, but you read enough law books and you're gonna say that doesn't make sense.
Oh, I've read,
Grammatically not
I've read
correct,
plenty.
but yet it is correct.
I mean, it's up to you guys. I think it would mean the same thing personally, but
It does, but yet. I mean,
All right,
here we are.
we're in agreement,
On leaving it the same.
yes,
so far,
Anything,
with that, we're gonna move on to,
what about division of code? No changes in that either?
so you may wanna take a note that when we take off next meeting, we'll start on preface page II. And just for mental note for the minutes.
So I don't have time to do the minutes and this at the same
Yeah.
time. So I'm gonna go back and watch and just take head
Okay.
notes.
So next meeting, when we start the review, meeting again, we'll be doing second page. of the
Correct.
Preface,
So we're just gonna stop here and go to where we're starting.
C29, because it's 5 o'clock and usually I want the last half hour to be.
I'm fine with that. So if we're done with Wally's edits for now, we'll.
Go to the C29 page.
I feel proud of myself that I even know what you're talking about.
And the thing about knowing where we stop and where we start, just for a heads up, if you can, read ahead and make your own scribbles and your own copies so that, like right now, nobody's offered any changes to what we've looked at.
Mhm.
Well, that's assuming that you've read everything. So hopefully you'll read ahead enough. So, we can, keep up with that.
All right, C28, C29.
C29,
And we're starting at C,
C903,
903 enactment of ordinance by initiative.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So here, I guess, where nobody's probably read ahead on this, we can do that if you want. I'm in my initiative. On ordinances, what we take up daily, every meeting that we have ordinances. Whether it's to pay a bill, or whether it's,
So do you want me to read it through out loud and then after we make recommendations to that change in that particular, we'll go paragraph by paragraph?
sure,
Okay, so ordinances may be enacted by the following initiative procedure. A, any five registered voters may begin initiative proceedings by request in writing to the town clerk for the appropriate petition blanks. The complete text of the proposed ordinance shall be included with the request. All papers of the petition shall be uniform in size and style and shall be assembled as one instrument for filing. They shall contain or have attached thereto throughout their circulation the full text of the proposed ordinance. The petition shall be signed only by the registered voters of the town, and each voter's signature shall be followed by his address. I do have a recommended change. I think town should be defined as by registered voters of the town of Millinocket. It's not, just be clear on it.
It just says of the town right now, and you're
Correct.
saying.
I'm
of the
recommending
town
add
Of
Millinocket.
Millinocket, and then it's clarified.
Yes.
I agree with you 100% on that one there.
Well,
But-
before that, we had the number 5 being suggested to change to 10.
Right.
So that's not so simple to start this whole process.
And I don't agree with the 10 because of the population of the town has shrunk. And it has never been an issue with 5. I can't see changing it to 10. Now you're asking.
I agree.
Yep, I see.
You
I
know,
concur.
so I just,
And I think 5's from personal experience. I think 5 is plenty.
I,
When
well,
were the edits originally done? Like how long ago were the edits that Wally made?
It's been a very long time since.
we were in our meeting.
I think 87 is.
So when they were our age.
So, but it just, you gotta stop and look at that. You're gonna take 5 people. Have to come in, sign up to get a petition going.
Yeah, referendum.
And then you've got to get people to sign the petition. You're saying now, if you put 10 in there, you're gonna say you're gonna have to have 10 people. It's gonna make it more difficult for a person to come in and apply to get a petition out.
Yeah.
If they wanted to get rid of Richard Angotti as the council member
Right.
or whatever, or on the Board of Appeals
Put the
and
horn back in business.
put the horn back in.
Put the fork back in business. Yeah.
But in-
I agree that it should remain at 5.
In my opinion, it shouldn't be an easy process.
It already isn't.
It isn't, that this is a very difficult process, even with just 5.
I don't believe there's ever been a successful case in the
No.
town.
No,
Okay,
So
why would you
And
want
we
to make
don't
it
have
more
many
difficult?
petitions taken out.
Right.
They just go around honking their horns.
while there have been
They do
several
that
taken out in
once.
the last couple of years that have failed.
Right,
3 that I can account on. 2 that I
They can get
got
enough
asked to sign.
They can get enough petitions, signatures up to get it on the.
And when they did get enough, one of the 5 original people was not registered in Millinocket.
right.
So that's,
So it failed immediately.
And that's where your point of saying the town of Millinocket in there clarifies that so that there is no question.
Of what town of, yeah.
Bingo.
so.
And that's why I'm recommending it say of Millinocket.
All right, so what's the consensus here? 5, 5, 5.
But
5.
Are you with 5 as well?
yep, I'll go with 5.
Oh, that's. really-
I just don't want petitions taken out every other day because it is so easy to do.
It's easy to take them out. It's not easy to get them filed or accepted.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you've got to have, when those petitions
Well,
come
we're gonna
back,
get going on that.
Yeah,
It's
you
gonna be, it's
you
gonna
gotta
be
go
in here.
through a whole friggin',
You're gonna be reading it here.
Yep.
So go
Okay, so
ahead.
we're gonna leave it at 5. Okay,
And so far, the only recommended change is registered voters of the town of Millinocket.
yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
Any other recommended changes for that section or?
No,
Okay, B, each paper of the petition shall have attached to it, when filed, an affidavit executed by the circulator thereof stating that he personally circulated the paper, the number of signatures thereon, that all the signatures were affixed in his presence, that he believes them to be in the genuine signatures of the persons whose names they purport to be, and that each signer had an opportunity before signing to read the full text of the proposed ordinance.
and the only change that I can say on that one is where it says he, it should be he, she.
yeah, we got the grammar things that we've been doing.
Yeah.
I mean, Gender,
gender,
gender neutral
Neutral.
language is what we wanna have done.
right?
So any place that
Any
you
place
see,
that you see just he, should be he, she.
I'm gonna try to remember that, just, if
I
you
will.
don't see me do it, please say so.
The problem with that,
gender thing
Yeah,
goes beyond that now. You can be it
now,
or whatever.
right,
Right.
now it's pronouns.
So do we wanna just say they?
They.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, talk about us as like a
I mean,
group,
that-
not so
but
much.
you're asking, you're talking about one individual. The number of signatures herein, okay, before that,
Yeah, Is it-
stating that he personally,
but it says,
That-
it says,
So
They-
why don't
they
why don't we
per-
do
they
this? Why don't we say
personally.
that?
That
that
person.
Individual.
Okay,
better than that.
so
Yeah.
that. And then we're
when
gonna
you're talking
add,
about the affidavit.
That the individual personally.
How's it look? Does it read all right?
Yeah, I think so. For instance, that,
That's something you wanna keep in mind when you're reading
Right.
and making changes from the very beginning, Matt.
again, I'm gonna do my very best. But, so to reread that with the new edition, it would read that all signatures were affixed in his presence. So how do we want to change his? So each paper of the petition shall be
There.
attached to one file.
there,
with an
I was gonna say
affidavit.
there.
There.
And do we wanna do that, the individual?
Well,
No, never
hold
mind,
on,
never
one
mind,
thing
never
at a time, mister, okay? So we're doing THEIR?
Yeah, EIR.
There's only 6 different types of the word there.
I'm trying, okay? Oh, shoot, his is gonna get struck and change that to red and type in strike through. All right, better. And then Gage, you recommended what else?
Up on the second, was the first line, second line?
Oh, yeah, I see it. So, each voter signature shall be followed by his address.
Right, yeah, that.
Their-
Their address.
Their address.
Oh. Oh, baby blue. All right,
First, so now the second line down in B. Oops. Just lost it.
yeah, it's coming back up.
It was your second line down in B.
Thank God for autosave, my man.
Oh, that won't affect my document. It's just with the weather outside in Zoom, it's making it very hard. Okay, you said second line down, so the complete text, the proposed ordinance shall be included with the request.
In B, each paper
Oh,
of
in
the
the second
petition shall have,
Have attached to it when filed an affidavit executed by the circulated thereof stating that he,
there, right there,
so that they,
they personally. Life was so simple in the old days.
There's only 2 sexes.
okay. I completely agree. All right, so any other suggestions for B?
Yep, here's another one.
There's
Okay.
another he, yeah.
Right after presence, that he should be
We
there.
already, that, we changed it to that individual believes them to be the genuine signatures of the person whose name.
Right.
That we already did that one.
Oh, okay. That individual.
Yeah,
okay.
it would be that individual believes instead of that he believes.
Had it in the wrong spot.
So did I. So,
Okay, so any other recommendations or?
On B, no.
No more.
Okay, C, upon receipt by the town clerk of the appropriate petition signed by the registered voters of the town numbering at least 20% of the number of voters cast in the town at the last national election, the town council shall call a public hearing to be held within 14 days of the date of the filing of such petition with the town clerk and shall within 14 days after said public hearing, call a municipal election for the purpose of submitting to vote.
Nothing so far.
Question of adopting.
I do have one question. Submitting to vote, and then is the continuation on the next page?
Yes,
Okay, all right, just making sure.
the question of adopting such ordinance.
Yep, so any changes on the first part of C? Before we switch to the next page? I don't see any,
I didn't see
I don't see
Gender
anything,
related
yeah.
I don't disagree.
I don't see any grammarly related issues that need to be updated either.
so hearing that, the second part of C, the question of adopting such ordinance unless shall be enacted by the council prior to the call for said town election. Such ordinance shall be enacted and take effect when a majority of these voting thereon shall have voted in the affirmative, which was amended on 11/3/92.
There's where things can be amended.
Yeah, so
You'd have to find that amendment. Is that, this is where it gets sticky, because this is a codified document, a certified document. So if it was amended, then the amendment is on file at the clerk's office. So that all she does is puts on the amendment. Now you'd have to go get that amendment from the clerk to identify what was amended based on this document.
And maybe we could change it here. If it's-
Right, if we had that amendment, we can then put that amendment in this while we're making the change.
That's what the thing to do.
So the only grammatical recommendation that processing unit is suggesting is that the comma between ordinance and unless is not needed. That's the only thing it's recommending. So it's saying the comma between ordinance and unless is not necessary.
Oh, the comma?
Yep.
Yeah,
Again, it's small grammatical, but I mean, it's,
I think the comma should be there, but that's
I
old school.
agree,
That's old
yes.
school.
I'm fine with that. I'm just telling you guys
Yeah,
what.
I know,
what it's
I
saying.
know.
Chance to take a breath, that's all I can tell you.
Agree. Well, that's what we were told in high school. The commas for a breath.
So we
So-
might want to see what the amendment on 11/3/1992 was.
So do we want to take a note and then next time?
Yes.
Yeah,
And see if.
Note to self, check for 11/3/92.
and probably we're at a good breaking point, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, do you want to do D and then we can see it right off on C904?
Yeah.
Okay, D, any such proposed ordinance shall be examined by the town attorney before being submitted to the voters. The town attorney is authorized to correct the form of such proposed ordinance for the purpose of avoiding repetitions, illegalities, and constitutional provisions to assure accuracy in its text and reference in clearness and presence. Okay, there's too many ands in that sentence.
Yeah,
And its phraseology, but he shall not materially change its meaning in effect. So I have
I have no issue with it, but
two changes.
Replace commas with the,
The he and I think the and should be replaced with comma.
he,
Yeah, but he shall not.
oh. But that's referencing the town, okay, because the town attorney could be.
yeah, actions, yeah.
I mean, you could actually admit the he.
Yeah.
You didn't-
Yeah, I don't even think he is needed. I think it should say but
He-
shall not
he-
materially
but
change.
Shall not
Right.
materially change its meaning. So take the he right out.
Okay, and then comma after illegalities. So the comma is blue. And then where's the other and?
Right there.
This is the first? Oh, yeah, so
That's the second one.
so strike that and. Okay. And the second and. And then add another comma after unconstitutional provisions.
Correct.
Yep. And then the last two and, oh, there goes him again. Accuracy in its text, strike that third and.
Mhm.
And then add another comma after text. And then the last and is fine. Okay, and then get rid of the other and.
I was gonna say there were two.
There's another one right after reference.
So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, yeah.
There's one after reference. Strike the and, put a comma.
Okay, in the text, reference, clearness, and then and preciseness and its phraseology.
Yeah, it should be a comma after clearness.
Right.
And the and stays at that.
And
Yeah,
stays on
the
that
and
one,
stays.
yes. The last and.
Okay. Any such proposed ordinance shall be examined by the town attorney before being submitted to the voters. The town attorney is authorized to correct the form of such proposed ordinance for the purpose of avoiding repetitions, illegalities, unconstitutional provisions to assure accuracy in its text, reference, clearness, and preciseness in its phraseology, but shall not materially change its meaning and effects.
Got it.
Also for adjournment,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor? Yeah.
Stop recording.
I gotta stop it on. Peter's PC.
Well, thank you, that went well.
Gonna go slow.
Got a lot more done this time than last time, huh?
Yeah. Well, I kind of worry with like tipping back. Keep up with it.
Yeah, the,
If I could get a copy of the